but not quite as tight as that. So it's technically quite a difficult finish to deal with, but it's not just sort of plain sailing from there, because it is up and down, and a couple of decent climbs before we get to that point, and also quite a fast descent, which looks to have a few tricky corners in it.
Yeah, and then you have to find yourself at the front of the bunch, especially also going into that final kilometer. If you are past position 15, 20, it will be impossible to move up. We do have a little bit of catch playing catch here with the motorbike, who really has to make a move on as the riders are diving into this descent. We have all the major teams represented here with AG2R. I think it's Bonamour again. We've seen him on the attack before. Frank Bonamour, one of the riders from the B&B Hotels team, who did find a place on a World Tour team. Riders for the Lotto Destiny team here. They do have Jarne van der Paar, and that is a rider who moved up to the World Tour team just only last month. It was the proceedings were sped up just a little bit. It was expected that he moved up to the World Tour team, but they made it a little bit faster. And then on his first race day, he already was on the podium in Mallorca. Good sprinter, Jarne van der Paar, but not represented in this first group, where it's especially AG2R driving this little breakaway of 6 or 7 riders.
Yeah, I mean, they are committing to this one. You know, they're not happy about that motorbike not being able to stay clear, and it just goes to show how much quicker a bike rider will go around the corner than a motorbike, especially a big one like that carrying TV equipment. But they are really pushing on here, and it's clearly possible to put some time into the peloton here, and or certainly put them under pressure.
And this was the first of the 2 climbs. We're going to do it again, and then again, and I think that is going to be rather crucial, judging from what we've seen right now. We have another descent, and that basically leads into that final kilometer, Magnus. So it's prime Nielsen Paulus territory. This is the way that he won Grand Prix La Marseillaise as well, attacking on that climb, and he's such a magnificent descender. And that it really comes in handy on these kind of climbs.
Well, it definitely does, and they're pushing the limits here now. You see how close they are to the edge of the road on the exit, and just clipping that apex. And it just goes to show how complete a bike rider you have to be these days to be competitive.
I must say that I would be rather surprised if we still end up with a bunch sprint. I think this is a very promising group. We do have Nielsen Paulus here. We have Mathieu Burgado there in last position for Total Energie. 2 riders for AG2R represented in this group. One for Groupama FDJ and one for Arkea Samsic, currently leading, of course. Might actually be Maxime Bouet or Vauquelin. We'll have that confirmed. It is Kevin Vauquelin. And then looking in the background, is there anybody bridging across to this group as they end this descent and then straight go into the final climb? It's called the Col de la Colbas. It's 1.2 kilometers long, 4% average, and then straight after that descent we go into that finish climb. So if you find yourself here, this is not the place to be.
No, this is going to be hard work down here now, especially with the rubber band effect coming out of every corner. You're having to kick so hard to stay on the wheel, and it's not a good place to be. And you can see the gaps opening straight away through all of these twists and turns. So I'm expecting that to be quite a few splits actually. And like you said, it might not be that we're getting a bunch sprint, but it's not over just yet. As promising as this group looks. There is still enough time for a peloton to get organised and come after these guys.
This is that final climb. And there's nothing and nobody actually coming from the background. So these 6 riders are within a good shot, actually, of winning this stage. I'm actually thinking these 2 riders of H2R, what should they be doing right now? They're the only team with two riders represented, as we see Burgado for Total Energy constantly at the last wheel of the group.
Yeah, well, they got to try and motivate everyone to keep taking turns and keep on pushing on this one, because if they sit up and start looking around, then the peloton will be with them before they know it. So either commit one to because we're looking at 7 kilometers here, so and with it being a fair bit of descending, commit one rider to really pushing hard and staying on it, and leave the other one to deal with the finish. But it's going to be difficult. Ooh.
This is Esteban Chavez. Yeah, I do think he also suffers from a little bit of jet lag, Magnus, of course, flying home from Colombia, where he just got that national championships. And that first race back on European soil is also a little bit hectic for riders from South America. You have to get accustomed, and North America as well, by the way, getting accustomed to, to these kind of racing. We have Pierre Cotera here. He did all the work for his teammate, and that is Paré-Peintre, Vauquelin, Kevin Gignettes, Nielsen Paulus, and I think the last man is Burgado. It is indeed Burgado, winner of a stage in Paris-Nice last year. The Julian Alaphilippe lookalike.
It is a bit, isn't it?
But I think he shaved his... I think he has a moustache now, or he shaved it. It's one of the two, but makes for a little bit of a different. Kevin Vauquelin here in the colours of Arkea Samsic with number 44, Aurélien Paré-Peintre. Then the tall figure in the Groupama FDG jersey is former Luxembourg national champion Kevin Gignettes. And then with number 56, of course, the man at the moment, Nielsen Paulus. 4 riders. Let's and Burgado should be there somewhere. It doesn't happen at the back of the peloton, as we are looking at Maxime Jarnet and some of the riders of the Bingle team currently getting dropped from that first group, with Aaron van der Beke here. Let's get back to the front, if the camera bike can get us back to the front. 18 seconds at the moment for the group with Nielsen Paulus. There he is, Paulus, Gignettes, Vauquelin and Aurélien Paré-Peintre. Looks like Burgado is now dropped from this group, and it was actually Pierre Cotera doing all the work there for Paré-Peintre. An attack there from Nielsen Paulus, and we do know from the Grand Prix La Marseillaise that he is a master descender, Magnus, so he wants to be at the top of this small climb and then just dive in as first rider into that descent, being able to determine his own lines and not being bothered by other riders. But this is neutralized now.
Yeah, it's also testing the legs of everyone else in this group and see who's who responds well to a bit of a move and who's losing a couple of meters, not necessarily dropping completely, but just feeling the pressure. And with that, going into to that final kilometer, it might sort of change your tactics. So should I go for a long move and try and sort of drag race everyone and snap the elastics on early parts on that climb, or do I wait until that final sweeping long right-hander and then push it from there? But these guys are sending it down here now.
I think this is the moment for Nielsen Paulus to really attack on that descent. I've absolutely marveled at his style of descending in La Marseillaise. He attacked on the climb about 12 kilometers out from the finish line, and then, well, it just didn't need any commentary, Magnus. It was absolutely stunning to see how this man has control over his bike. So I do hope that we can get back to the front now and see the magic that is Nielsen Paulus on a descent.
Yeah, I mean, it is just awesome to watch when you got a great descender doing his thing, and especially like this, where you can put everyone under pressure and coming into some of these corners, and you can play around a lot with how you do it as well. If you got a good acceleration on you, you can actually just slow it down enough, and then just let go of the brakes in the perfect time, and accelerate really hard. And even if you're in second or third wheel, you still feel that rubber band effect, and yeah, you take a bit of the edge off a few riders again. Genietz is not happy. He's not wanting to come through here now. He's realised this. I'm going to have to play this from the back, and maybe try when we come off this little descent here now. There's maybe 1.5 kilometers or so of flat, and maybe that's the time when he puts a big attack in.
Yeah, Kevin Vogelaar, he's a good time trialist. He was second last year in Tour of Luxembourg. He hasn't got a pro win just yet, but he's on grand form with a 4th place in the general classification in Bessèges, the race that was won by Nielsen Paulus. Also one win in the career of Parepintre, and that was the Grand Prix La Marseillaise 2 years ago. And Kevin Genietz, he's got 3 wins already, but those were all national championships in Luxembourg. So he doesn't have himself a road win just yet in a non-Luxembourg field.
No.
Final 2 kilometre, or it seemed like it was 3 kilometres on that sign, but it went really, really fast. We have Nielsen Paulus here, we have Aurélia Parepintre, Kevin Vogelaar and Kevin Genietz. Those are the 4 leaders at the moment, 24 seconds, but they do have to continue racing all the way to that final kilometre. If they start looking at each other now, Magnus, the peloton might still come back.
Yeah, they might still do. I mean, the pressure is still on in the peloton here now, with multiple teams wanting to chase, and Trek Segafredo being one of them that's missed out. Cofidis having missed out as well. So yeah, there are enough teams who want to carry on. So they need to keep that pressure on, and not sort of start looking at each other too early.
1.5 kilometres to go as we cruise through the vignettes here in the outskirts of Ramatuelle, all the way on the Mediterranean coast in the south of France. This is the first stage of Tour des Alpes Maritimes et du Var, and another attack by Kevin Vogelaar. We are going towards that final kilometre. Nielsen Paulus really has trouble following that attack. Kevin Genietz can't do it, and Parepintre seems to be in a little bit of trouble as well. Final kilometre for the 21-year-old Kevin Vogelaar. He's actually from Bayeux, famous of course for the tapestry, where we have a lot of medieval history embroidered on a tapestry. He's on the lead, Magnus.
Yeah, but I think Paulus is just doing this quite smartly. He's not going full just yet, because it's 1 kilometre up to the finish line, and if he just goes too hard too early, then he will probably go too deep and not have enough left to go all the way to the line. So he's just judging that effort to slowly bring him back.
He is, of course, a smart bike racer. Aurélia Parepintre is absolutely not going to win the bike race. And Kevin Genietz is not really working along with Nielsen Paulus, who tries to sneak towards our leader, Kevin Vogelaar. We are in the final few hundred meters. There is a significant gap, and Paulus and Genietz, they are looking at each other. It's 500 meters, 400 meters, and it's flattening off just a little bit now for Kevin Vogelaar. Is this 21-year-old from Normandy on his way to his very first professional win? It does look like it. He had a fantastic, solid start to the season with a 4th place in the general classification of Étoile de Bessèges. He's one of those promising talents from France at the moment. Second last year in Luxembourg when he was just 20 years old. He's on his way to his first professional win. Fantastic racing. His name is Kevin Vogelaar, and this is his first professional win. Bravo, young man. A 2nd place there for Paulus, 3rd for Genietz, and 4th for Aurélia Parepintre. 10 seconds for him, and a first yellow jersey as well for Vogelaar. What an emotional moment for this young man. He will be 22 in April, and that was some smart racing, Magnus, from this man. Let's see who wins the peloton sprint. That is Coca just ahead of Bueni there. Smart racing by Vauquelin, who sits there against the barriers as the peloton cruises in.
Yeah, perfect timing in that attack, and he caught everyone slightly off guard. It was too far, but too close to really go after it, and that slight hesitation just got him the gap, and ultimately, had the legs to carry it all the way to the line. Yeah, great one, congrats.
Yeah, they have some fantastic talent on this team. This man is a double national junior champion in France, both the time trial and on the road. And in his first championship as an under-23 in a country with so many riders, he was already fourth and third on the time trial. Time trialing is one of his forte. We don't have a time trial here, but he does have himself a win. Bravo. Second win of the season for Arkea Samsic. Jente Biermans won the new one-day race in Oman, the Muscat Classic. And I wonder, Magnus, you said Nilsen Paulus seemed to be racing to his last wheel, but then there was a little bit of disagreement between him and Genietz, who didn't want to take over.
No, Genietz definitely didn't want to do a turn, but I think ultimately the timing of the attack was perfect, and it put Paulus under pressure. It looked like he was slowly sort of edging closer to that wheel, but sometimes you just don't have the legs.
And of course, yeah, with Paulus' form, it also means that people are looking at him to do the job.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I always love seeing a young pro take his first win. Last weekend with Ben Turner, now with this man, Vauquelin, who's been close so many times in recent years, and one of these promising youngsters on Arkea, who have a really, of course, they lost Nairo Quintana and all those points that he has, but they have really great young riders. Louis Barret is one of the other ones, Vauquelin, Grondin, and of course this man. So yeah, great win in this rather lovely town of Ramatuelle. Tomorrow we continue with stage 2, naturally, after stage 1. We start in Mandelieu, and with a little bit of a mellow start to the stage. We do have a pretty grippy final with some long climbs, actually 9.3 kilometers to Cabrice, and then we continue a little bit further to Col de Pilon, then a very fast descent all the way back to the Azur Arena in Antibes. So that could be a very interesting final as well with these categorized climbs, Magnus. Interesting profile tomorrow.
It is, especially the final of it. There's some significant amount of climbing to be done in the stage, especially in the last half of it. So, yeah, it could be an interesting day tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. And now we got the sort of the early GC settled down. Let's see what Arkea Samsic have got in terms of defense.
He turned pro in 2021 as a trainee with Arkea Samsic. He's a man from the region, of course. This team has firm ties in the western departments in Brittany and in Normandy. He was part of the Rouen club, which is quite a famous amateur team as well, and turned pro in 2021. So this is only his third season, actually his second season when you are a trainee. Does it count as your first pro season as a trainee? Those months from August? I don't think so.
I don't think they do.
And he's been close to that first win for quite some time. So yeah, it's quite emotional for him that he finally has it. But knocking on the door, Kevin Vauquelin, and finally success for him. A name to remember, but you probably already saw that last year in the Tour of Luxembourg, which is a pretty tricky race.
Yeah, it is, and I mean he was fourth on GC in Étoile de Bessèges as well, just a couple of a couple of weeks
2 weeks
back.
ago.
So yeah, so he's clearly come into the season in very good form, and as we say, when you got good legs, you got to make use of them.
The lighthouse here of Cap Camara, built in 1829 actually. And according to my road book, this is, in terms of height, it's actually the second in France. 129.8 meters from the sea level. So not really the tallest in statue, but based on from where it stands from the sea level. Let's listen to the interview if we can hear it, which I cannot, sadly.
No, me, I'm afraid.
Vous attaquez sous la flamme, c'est ouais, un
You attacked on the final
ça
kilometer.
s'est fait vite dans la bosse. Et
it went really fast on the climb.
Il y a un groupe de cossos qui est sorti. On a essayé
we had a good group there.
de bien filocher, essayer de pas en trop en faire. Et puis ensuite, ça s'est crémé parce que c'était
we
vraiment
worked
dur.
together. It was not a hell.
Et j'ai essayé une fois à 3 km, mais c'était pas fructueux. Et après, j'ai dit de toute façon, je garde
I tried
pour la
before,
fin,
but it
comme un
didn't work
pistard.
out the first time.
J'ai fait voilà, le kilomètre, je savais qu'il était un peu plus dur. Donc si je
And
prenais un
then
peu
with
d'avance,
1 kilometer to go, I knew that the road was rising.
Parce
and
qu'il y a du
it
lourd.
would
Vous
become a little bit
battez
more
Nilsson
difficult, and I
Paulus qui
tried
était
again.
quasiment intouchable depuis le début de la saison. Paraît pas.
Yeah, Nilsson Paulus was the man to beat in these early season races.
Je suis vraiment content de mon effort parce qu'il y avait quand même
I'm happy with my effort here.
On s'est déjà battu la semaine dernière avec
I kept cool.
sur Bessèges. Et voilà, j'ai réussi à passer devant ce coup-là.
I already saw him in
c'est
Bessèges
de
and
très
I knew
bonne
what he
augure
could
pour le
do.
classement général, peut-être sur ce Tour des Alpes-Maritimes et
Are
d'Iva.
you already thinking about the
bien
general
parti pour.
classification?
Je pense que j'ai pris pas mal de secondes d'avance pour le moment. Après, voilà, c'est
I took a few
ce que nous réserve. Après, je suis d'ici maintenant, donc je connais les routes, donc je vais essayer de faire le mieux possible pour l'équipe.
We'll see tomorrow.
Et voilà.
I know
Et le plaisir d'endosser un maillot dans quelques instants, de le porter demain sur les routes des Alpes-Maritimes.
Oui, j'ai beaucoup porté le maillot de meilleur jeune. Là, j'ai porté le maillot leader.
I've worn the best young rider jersey quite some
Kevin.
time, but not as leader in the race. And that is, of course, going to happen now. He took some seconds, 10 bonus seconds on the line, and a few seconds on the peloton as well. And yeah, this is a man with a shot of actually winning it. Tomorrow we have a pretty spicy finale, a pretty spicy final hour. And then on Sunday we have Col de Vence, which is a pretty steep and nice climb as well to finish it off. So it will be with Kevin Vauquelin in yellow. Quite a composed little interview there, Magnus, from a young rider.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, he's clearly in good shape, and with that, is confident in his own abilities. And like you said, he tried a couple of times before, and it was, didn't quite work out. And he said, okay, I'll put everything on at the kilometer. And yeah, he clearly knew he had the legs to carry it all the way. So especially on a finish like that, you have to have full confidence in your ability that you can carry that off. It's not like you can sort of create that gap and then it's easy riding and you sort of I guess sort of get the gap by other riders looking at each other. This was purely it was done on legs because everyone is going hard after him, and yeah, fair play.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of footage there where Nilsson Paulus kind of gestured to the others to take over. This attack was done by Mathieu Burgado, who was actually also the first one to get dropped from that group, so that attack really took too much out of him apparently. And then he kept his cool, like he said in the interview as well. And yeah, great one, great for him. Some smart racing by this young man, who lives up to the to his reputation that he had as a junior. He was absolutely one of the best juniors of his generation, and the generation that he's from is a super strong one. The 1999, 2000, 2001 generation in France is ridiculously strong, and now even like 19, 20-year-olds like Lenny Martinez are coming through the ranks as well, Paul Penouet, and he's the national champion. He was the national champion of that generation, and already confirming that in your second year as a professional is something that doesn't happen all the time. So this is a great confidence boost, and let's see if he can keep that yellow jersey up till Sunday. Tomorrow, Magnus and I will be back with stage 2. A few minutes later than we were today, so 3:15 European time, 1 hour earlier if you're watching in the UK, and if you are watching from Canada or the US or whatever in the world, thanks for watching, but I cannot do all the time zones. It's somewhere early morning. You're probably having your cornflakes with coffee if you're watching this in the US, but welcome. It's nice to have you with us. I'm almost going to peel my potatoes for dinner. Now we're going to see the final minute of the race, Magnus. Take us through it.
Well, at this point, it looked like Paula still had the legs to try and close it, but then him and Janiesky keep on looking at each other, and at that point, the gap just grew straight away, and you can see Vauquelin's still got energy in the pedal stroke. He's really driving this all the way to the line. So, he was clearly the best rider of the day, and all you can do is congratulate him on a fantastic win.
Of course, we've got a lot of cycling going on for you this weekend. Algarve is a race that you can watch now, and or watch it on playback. Tomorrow we continue with the summary or the highlights of the Tour of Oman. We have, of course, the Tour of Andalusia with Brian, and with Jazz we have the Algarve going on with Adam Blythe and Rob Hatch. We'll be back tomorrow as well. And then we have cyclocross, the final weekend of cyclocross starting in Sint-Niklaas. And then the final race will be on Sunday in Brussels. And we got the World Championship Esports tomorrow night on Saturday with Matt Stevens for you to enjoy. With Hannah is there, Hannah Walker. Daniel Lloyd is there as well. And it's going to be a crazy race. Because it's a new concept, and Hannah and Nathan Guerra will talk you through it. Matt has done all the stages already. If you're following on Instagram, there's been a lot of sweating going on in the preparation. I'm glad that I don't have to do that because it looked crazy hard. But we have fantastic names, including, for example, Victor Kampenaerts, the former hour record holder. Loes Adegeest is going to defend her title, the winner of the Cadel Evans Great Ocean Road Race, and some other names. Hayley Simmons will be there as well. So that is on tomorrow. So, 5 races, 5 events tomorrow for you to enjoy here on GCN Plus, Discovery Plus, and Eurosport. Cyclocross, esports, and road racing from Portugal, from Oman, from Spain, and from France. So actually 6 events tomorrow. Whew. Our top 10, Kevin Vauquelin ahead of Nielsen Paulus, Kevin Genietz, Aurélien Parapintre, Coca wins the sprint of the peloton ahead of Turgis, Bouhanni, Perez, Marco Tizza, and Clément Rousseau. So 35 seconds already for Kevin Vauquelin on the competition. Tomorrow, stage 2, 3:15 European time. Join us then. We're going to wait for the podiums now. Now we've got the top 10. 35 seconds on some of the other hitters there in the peloton. We've got to, this was on paper the easiest stage.
Yeah. But you know, just because it's an easier stage doesn't necessarily mean that the racing won't be hard. And I think sometimes, you know, the harder the stage, the more everyone has to hold back, because you end up racing the course rather than the competitors. And yeah, I like this kind of a finish. It's you know, enough springboards for everyone to have a go, and it's certainly proved very, very entertaining.
This is the general classification, and a healthy lead already on the competition for Vauquelin. A little bit of artwork there. It's not exactly Copenhagen, but it is pretty. She does have legs, contrary to the mermaid, of course, in Copenhagen. But I love it. Especially with the seagull on top of it. But look at that, that's a splendid piece of sculpting. That is gorgeous. This is the attack by Mathieu Burgado. We saw Jeanette's reacting, and this is exactly what we said. You have to be at the front of the peloton to be able to counter these kind of things. But this attack by Burgado really took out so much out of him that he was also the first guy to get dropped from the breakaway. AG2R had two riders in that first group, with Pierre Gautera doing a lot of work there for Aurélien Parapintre. He also got dropped from that group, Gautera, meaning we were left with four. Great work here by the youngster, the neo-pro Gautera, doing the work there for Parapintre. Two brothers on that team, by the way, and this is the older of the two. Valentin is also part of the team. And then we're down to four, and Nielsen Paulus really tried the attack here on that climb to be the first one going into the descent. But yeah, Parapintre was really glued to the wheel. And then, yeah, Nielsen Paulus hoped that the others would also do some work. But if you have won the amount of bike races that Paulus has in the south of France in recent weeks, of course everybody's going to look at you to do the work. And then this one attack under the Flamme Rouge by Kevin Vauquelin, a little bit of hesitation there by Jeanette and by Paulus, and I think Parapintre just had nothing left in the tank to do anything by now. I don't think there were any tactical mistakes. This man was just the smartest and the strongest.
Yeah, so attacks usually come down to just pure timing, and especially when you're this deep into the race, and it's been hard as hard as it has been, then that timing to just get the gap and make everyone think about chasing it down, and that can be enough to carry it all the way to the line.
There it is, the rosé from the Provence, which I so expertly, completely talked down. But I must say, if you're in the Provence and it's like one of these late evenings and you have a little bit of these like very light rosé, this is actually quite a dark one. They usually are almost translucent here in the region. It's fantastic wine. I'm not going to say it sucks. But the connoisseurs that I read on the internet are not really that excited about it.
Okay.
Lovely little glass trophy there for him. And an interview. I think we are close to ending this broadcast now. Tune in for 6 events tomorrow. 6 different cycling events. Highlights from Oman. We have Andalusia, we have Algarve, we have this race, we have